right, thank you, Rebecca. Well, hello everyone, my name is John Cottrell. This is a Power Hour yoga class. And for prompts today, if you have a couple of blocks, I would suggest a couple of blocks, 1 or 2 is fine. That's just going to help us with some of our deep stretching that's going to happen in our practice today. I have a blanket, I just use that at the end of the practice. You don't necessarily need a blanket, unless when we do our lying down work, like we'll do a back bend, you might want to use a blanket for some padding underneath you. But our focus today, as far as our practice, we're going to do a couple of things. This is a dynamic flow, a vinyasa flow, and we're going to focus on a little bit of twisting, but mainly back bends. And so just really strengthening the back and actually incorporating some balance and some twisting and all that too. All right, so we're going to go ahead and begin. I'd like to start in mountain pose. So whenever you're ready, I invite you to stand near the top of your mat with your feet about hip distance apart. Just stand nice and tall. You feel free to close your eyes or just soften your eyes. Maybe take a couple of deep breaths in and out. Slow cleansing breaths. You might breathe in through your nose. You can exhale through your nose or exhale through your mouth. Just taking this opportunity to feel focused, grounded and centered. And just bring yourself to a greater awareness, feeling fully present. Take 3 more slow, deep breaths. Prepare your body to move. When you're ready, inhale and extend your arms overhead. Nice stretch, reach all the way up. And exhale, fold forward, so a good hinge from your hips. Bend your knees as much as you need to. And just make your way down. This could be a partial fold. Right now, my hands are at my shins. You can even just bend your knees more if you'd like to touch your toes or your mat. Then inhale, slide your hands up to your knees or your thighs and extend your spine so your torso is parallel to the ground. Then exhale and fold again. We're going to hold here a little longer, just so you can start to feel a nice rounding, a natural rounding of your back, a release in the low back, and even release your shoulders here. You're welcome to maybe circle your shoulders, make circles backward and forward, a little shaking sensation there, or circle the arms like you're stirring a pot of soup. A gentle shake of your head and neck, just releasing any tightness or tension that might be lingering in the upper portion of your body. Let's do one more monkey pose. And inhale, slide your hands just up to your knees, extend your spine, just a halfway lift. Exhale, back down to your fold. Now go ahead and lean back into your heels, bend your knees like you're sitting down. Maybe extend your arms out to the side, then inhale and come up to a standing position, reaching into the air. Then exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Just pause here, take a breath or 2. Let's continue to add on to our sun salute. Moving at your own pace, inhale, reaching into the air. And exhale, swan dive forward. Again, a good hinge from your hips, bend your knees. We'll inhale, rise up halfway, long, flat back like a table. Let's exhale, bend your knees enough to place your palms on your mat. Just walk or step both of your feet back into plank pose. We're going to hold here for a moment. Spread out your fingers, press firmly into your mat to have flat palms. It just stretches the palms open, strong arms, and slightly lifted hips. Breathe in. Exhale, bend your knees a little to send your hips up into the air. This should guide you to downward facing dog. Once you're here, just make any adjustments, maybe with your feet, maybe your hands, and just settle into your pose. We're going to hold here for a moment. You might even pedal your feet here for a nice stretch through your calves and your toes. Just a walking sensation, or like you're pedaling a bicycle.
Feel that lengthening through the lower half of the back side of your legs. You might feel this in your toes and the bottoms of your feet. Notice the knees bending, and even allow your hips to shift side to side if you'd like. Meanwhile, your hands are still pressing firmly into your mat to keep that nice stability and strength in your upper body. Let's pause. Inhale. As you exhale, walk, step, or even hop both feet back up to the top of the mat. Once you're here, inhale, rise up halfway, monkey pose. Exhale, fold. Again, lean back into your heels, bend your knees. We'll inhale to come back up to a standing position, reaching into the air. Immediately with an exhale, sit back into chair pose. We're a chair-like position right here. Take a breath in, we're just adding on. Exhale, dive out of your seat, back down towards toes, forward fold. Inhale, rise up halfway, long, flat back. Exhale, bend your knees, hands to your mat, step. Both feet back, plank pose. Another pause here. Same energy and strength in your body. Slight lift of the hips. You might even sense that your hips are at shoulder distance or at shoulder height. Inhale for more length in the body. Exhale, bend your knees a little. Send your hips into the air for downward facing dog. I just call that a shortcut to downward facing. Let's continue. We'll inhale, extend right leg up, reaching back behind you, nice and long. Exhale, guide your right foot up to the top of your mat between the hands. Turn your left heel to the floor behind you to sense a good grounding with the body. Shift your body weight back a little bit so there's a little bit more weight in that back foot. Rise up to fingertips so you can start to extend your spine. Then your inhale to rise up all the way to warrior one, reaching into the air, and our exhale to a warrior two. We'll pause here for a moment, settle into the posture. You might even take a little bit more distance between the feet by taking them farther apart. So you have a nice deep lunge, opening up in the inner thighs, nice outstretched arms. Let's reach out over the right leg, angled upper body. Let's rotate the arms. Right arm comes down, while left arm extends up into the air. You can stay up pretty high like I am at the moment, like my right hand is not even close to touching the ground. You can even bend this elbow, if you'd like, and rest it lightly on the thigh. This would have a nice opening through the whole front side of your body while you're here. Let's stay here, but if you're able with your shoulder, extending this left arm overhead, reaching, nice stretch, lengthening and opening down through the left side of your body. A couple more breaths here. We'll take a third breath in. And that exhale, turn to bring both hands down to the mat. Let's step back into plank pose. We're still taking those shortcuts to down dog. Just bend your knees, hips into the air. There's downward facing. Make some adjustments with the feet, then we'll continue. Inhale, extend left leg up into the air, reaching back. Exhale, left foot now to the top of the mat. Right heel turns to the floor, shift body weight back for balance. Rise to fingertips to start that extension of spine. Then your inhale to rise up all the way. Warrior one, and our exhale to warrior two. Make your adjustments with the feet, settle in, nice alignment. Make sure your left knee and toes are pointing directly forward. Parallel arms to the ground. Then our side angle. Follow your left arm forward, angled upper body, rotate the arms. Here we are in our side angle pose. Nice extension of this right arm into the air. Once again, keep this high if you'd like, or maybe you are a little lower where your fingertips touch the ground. You might have your hand on a block. Let's follow the right arm overhead, reach and extend. We're emphasizing some lengthening through the right side of the body. Let's take another breath in, and our exhale will turn, bringing hands down to the mat. Step back into plank pose. Hold for a moment. Now go ahead and bring knees to the floor. You're going to bring the whole belly to the floor as you're able. We're going to move into a low cobra pose and guide ourselves into locust pose. So the hands are going to stay here underneath the shoulders. Make sure your legs are long with pointed toes. You're going to reach back through your toes. If your shoulders happen to be dipped towards the ground like mine are at the moment, we're going to roll them away from the ground, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Now just keep your gaze downward. Keep the neck neutral and just look down at your mat. You can stay just like this. You don't have to lift any higher than this, really. But let's activate the body by feeling like you're getting longer. So as you inhale, keep reaching back through your toes. Even feel like you're trying to pull yourself forward at the same time. As you exhale, pull belly button up towards your spine and engage your belly. You might even feel your glutes flex. Again, you can just hold this like this. Or inhale again for a little longer body. Exhale, start to lift the chest a little bit and maybe lift your legs off the floor, just your feet. You can stay there. Or inhale, get a little longer. Reaching in these opposite directions. Exhale, pull belly in and maybe lift your hands off the mat. If you need to keep the hands down, do so because it will stabilize you. You can keep the hands just barely lifted like this or reach back as if you're reaching to touch your toes. Again, keep your neck neutral. So you're looking directly down at the mat. You've lifted your legs, you've lifted your chest. This is locust pose. This is strengthening the low back and your glutes. Let's bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Relax a little, just melt the body. Then push back to hands and knees. So we're here. Let's make sure we get the knees underneath the hips and maybe your hands underneath your shoulders. Let's hold that for a moment. After that dynamic back bend, there's some strengthening there. Let's go right into cat and cow. So an inhale to lift head and heart, arching the back a little bit. Exhale, let's round it all out. And just continue that at your own pace, flowing through these two postures. Again, the inhale to look forward, arching the back. The exhale is the rounded spine sensation, and that's cat pose. And just notice and experience the undulation of the spine. Your cow pose, when you look forward like this, is a minor back bend. But really emphasize or pay attention to the cat pose, that rounding feeling. Hopefully it stretches the back and even releases the low back. Do that a few more times on your own. Finish the breath that you're on and take one more. And just finish in a neutral tabletop posture. Hold here for a moment. Then just step your hands forward a little bit, spreading out your fingers, curl your toes. With an exhale, lift your knees and hips into the air, downward facing dog. Let's continue when you're ready. Inhale, extend your right leg up into the air. We're gonna open this up, bend your knee. Bring your heel down towards your backside and lift your right knee towards the ceiling for a little twist, a little rotation in your torso, and opens the hips. As you exhale, unwind and bring right foot to the top of the mat. Left heel turns to the floor with that weight shift back. Find length in the spine, then inhale, rise up. Here's warrior one, and our exhale to warrior two. Right into side angle, reaching forward. Rotate your arms, just follow your left arm overhead. Reach and stretch for the length right there. And on this exhale, we're going to turn. We're going to bring both hands to the floor on the inside of your right foot. Pause there for a moment. We're going to make some adjustments. Lift your left heel so you're on your toes behind you. And even move your right foot more to your right side so you have a little bit more space for your hands. Hold here for a moment. Even lift your head a little just to get some extension through the spine. We're going to get into some deep lunges here. We're going to set the left knee onto the mat. Now here's where you might want to use blocks. If you have some blocks or something that you can kind of stack, you might want to bring those in right here. Alrighty. Now you might want to step your hands forward a little bit. Keep that good extension of spine, even feel like you're going forward. But even send your hips forward and they'll start to sink a little like this. And start to feel that stretch in the left hip flexor. This will start to show up in your right inner thigh as well. If this is enough of a stretch, then stay just like this. But you're welcome to go a little lower. But maybe the elbows don't come all the way down to the floor like this, but maybe you need some stacked blocks like I do. So you can do that. You can go as low as you'd like or stay as high as you need. We'll hold here for several breaths so that you can really get into the release of the inner right thigh and the left hip flexor. Deep breath. Since this is a deep sensation, we want to accompany that with deep breaths. Take 3 more breaths. We want to take our time here. After your 3rd breath, take your time as we come out of the pose. If you made it down to your elbows or those blocks, just come back onto your hands. Set your blocks out of the way. You'll need them again for the other side. Hands underneath you, like so. Curl your toes behind you so you can lift the knee. Lift your hips way up into the air. So you can slide or step that right foot back and just go right into downward facing dog. Other side. Inhale, extend left leg up into the air. We'll open this up with a bend of the knee. Feel the knee lift up towards the ceiling. It opens up the hips, creating a little twist in the spine. As you exhale, unwind and step left foot to the top of the mat. Right heel turns to the floor. Weight shift back. Find extended spine. Then inhale to rise, warrior 1. And our exhale to warrior 2. Moving right into side angle, reaching forward. Rotate your arms. Just follow your right arm overhead, nice extension. Reach and stretch. Then inhale, and the exhale to turn. So you can bring both hands to the mat on the inside of your left foot. So let's set up like the other side. Rise up on your tiptoes behind you, just squares out everything. Then move your left foot a little bit to the left side. Let's set the right knee onto the mat. Bring your blocks in. So they're ready to go. But first, find some extension of spine. Inhale like you're moving forward. As you exhale, let the hips sink a little bit so you can feel that right hip flexor begin to stretch. Now you can stay just like this. If this is enough, stay just like this, or start to come down. Just a simple bend of the elbows will do, or come down to your stacked blocks. Now, if you need a little bit more space for this left leg, and you can certainly move this left foot more to the left side and even slightly forward. I like to do that so it doesn't aggravate the left knee here. And with that adjustment I just made, my knee stays pretty stacked nicely over the ankle. I don't have any pressure in that knee joint, and I get a little bit more space in this left inner thigh. Again, let's just pause here for several breaths to get that nice release in both legs. Take 3 more breaths. When you feel complete, take your time. Come back up to your hands. You can set your blocks to the side there, but keep them handy. If the left foot went out to the side, let's bring it back onto the mat. Curl your toes underneath you so you can lift your knee off the floor. Keep lifting the hips high enough so it's easy enough to slide that left foot back, hips into the air, downward facing dog. Hold for a moment just to find some nice realignment. We'll inhale. In the exhale, walk, step, or even hop both feet forward to the top of your mat. Inhale to extend spine, and exhale, fold. Let's hold this fold for a moment so we can continue to feel a little bit more release in the low back. Just a couple of breaths. You might even lean forward a tiny bit so there's a little bit more weight towards your toes. Then go ahead and lean back into your heels, bend your knees. We'll inhale to come back up to a standing position. Get nice and tall, reach high, and exhale, bring your hands down to your heart. Hold for a moment. Very nice. All right. So our next pose is going to be a chair pose that we're going to twist. So you can even do this, you can have several ways you can kind of position your body.
You can stay just like this with your feet hip distance apart and just continue the process from here. You can even bring the legs together like so, squeezing the inner thighs together as we get into the posture. Or if you have a thick enough block, I have these thinner blocks, but I'll take the two like this. You might even place the block or blocks between the thighs just to squeeze inward to maintain stability in your hips. I'm just going to do it freely like this. So together, whenever you're ready, you'll inhale, reach into the sky, big stretch. Exhale, take your chair pose, and at the same time, bring your hands down to your heart. I'm just going to mirror you. You're going to inhale to lengthen through the spine. Exhale, pull belly in and rotate to your right side. Just a little bit will do. Now, if you're like me, with free legs here, you want to be sure your knees are still aligned. They haven't shifted. Or maybe the legs are squeezing together, or you've got the block that you're holding on to. Again, it's just about stability in the lower half of the body so we can get the full richness of the rotation in the upper body. Inhale where you are. As you exhale, unwind, just place your hands on your thighs so you don't have to fold all the way down. Then inhale, grow tall, reach into the air. Arms up, good. Exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. I'm just going to do the other side, same thing. Inhale, reach up, big stretch. Exhale, take your chair pose. Bring your hands to heart. Breathe in for lengthen the spine. Exhale, now rotate to your left. Mild rotation is fine. You don't have to go too far. If you can see me, I haven't rotated too far at all. And I'm not very low in this pose. But it's obvious that my torso has rotated. And that's all we really need for the benefit of the posture. Again, just be aware of the aligned lower half of the body and a nice rotation in the upper half. A couple more breaths. We're going to continue our flow. So breathe in right where you are. Exhale, unwind, hands on thighs. Slowly just slide your hands down the legs until you're in forward fold. We're going to continue. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale, bend your knees, hands to the mat, step back into plank pose. Once again, we're going to come all the way down to belly. All the way down for locust. Long legs, point your toes. Grip the mat with your fingertips. Roll the shoulders back, squeeze shoulder blades together. Inhale to feel length in the whole body. Exhale, pull belly in. Maybe lift the legs, maybe lift your hands, even reach back behind you. Be sure to keep the neck neutral. Bring the hands back down to the mat, lower the legs, push back to hands and knees, curl toes, hips into the air, downward facing dog. Make your adjustments with your feet. Inhale, extend right leg up, reach, bend and twist open. Exhale, unwind, right foot to the top of the mat, left heel to the floor, rising all the way up, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Let's keep it moving, reaching out for side angle. Right arm comes down, left arm up and overhead, reaching overhead. And the exhale, we're going to turn, again, bring both hands to the inside of your right foot. Stay there. Lift your left heel off the floor. And once again, you can move your right foot to the right side a little bit. Again, we're bringing the left knee to the mat. We're going to do something a little different. Extend your right arm forward, reaching towards me perhaps. Just a nice extension. And then start reaching up into the air, which is going to naturally rotate the torso. So you got a little bit of a twist going on right here. Breathe in. And the exhale, just to bring that hand back down, curl your toes behind you. Lift that left knee, lift the hips high enough so you can slide that right foot back. Plank, again, come all the way down to belly. For locust, long legs, pointed toes. Roll shoulders back. Inhale for length. Exhale to engage. And lift. Lift legs, lift hands. Maybe reach back. Inhale again. Exhale, bring the limbs back down to the floor. Push back, hands and knees. Curl toes, hips into the air. Downward facing dog, adjust the feet. Inhale, extend left leg up into the air. Bend and twist open.
Exhale, unwind. Left foot to the top of the mat. Right heel turns to the floor, shifting the weight back so you can rise up, warrior one. And our exhale, warrior two. Side angle, reaching out. Rotate the arms, follow the right arm overhead. Nice extension, reach and stretch. Breathe in. Exhale, turn both hands down to the floor on the inside of the left foot. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you. Maybe move this left foot out to the side a little bit. Right knee comes to the ground. Now extend left arm forward, really reach, and then slowly take it up to the sky. Just notice the rotation of the torso. Breathe in and out. Notice what's happening in the legs as well. Let's breathe in. And the exhale to unwind, hands to the floor. And curl your toes behind you, lifting that knee. Lift the hips. Slide left foot back, plank pose. Hold. And then bring both knees to the floor. We're gonna lie down. So first I'm just sitting back to hero, slide off to the side. So you can swing the legs around to the front here. And then scoot a little bit so you're sitting in the center of your mat. You go ahead and lie down onto your back. I'm just gonna adjust my mat here a little bit. Go ahead and lie down onto your back. We're gonna start here with the knees bent, feet flat on the floor. So we're just gonna move into bridge pose in a moment. But first, just let the body settle. Just let this relax. As far as alignment with your feet, you can keep the feet about hip distance apart. You can even take the feet a little wider, which is what I like to do. It's just a little bit more comfortable for my knees, my hips, and my back. When you're ready, and inhale, fill up your lungs. And your exhale to empty the belly, then lift your hips up into the air and just take your comfortable bridge pose. You don't have to lift too high unless you'd like to. Just send the hips up a little higher. You can even use the upper body to help that lift. You might rock your upper body a little bit to get the shoulders a little bit more underneath you, squeezing your shoulder blades together, maybe even interlace the fingers underneath you. Or you can bend your elbows like this and press the backs of your arms down into the floor just to help feel the upper body rise up a little bit. Three more breaths. After your third breath, just wiggle the toes forward a little bit, extend your arms into the air, and just roll your way back down to the mat. Let's extend the body, reaching through the legs out front, arms reaching behind you. Take that active stretch here. Inhale, then the exhale, then we can hug it all in. Bring the knees into chest. Feel free to maybe circle and massage the low back, like so. And start to rock forward and back enough, generating some momentum and strength. So you can exhale and rock your way up to seated, and we'll come to boat pose. Starting the position, you can flex the feet, knees can be bent right here. You can even hold on to your legs. You might even start with an extended spine just to ensure your spine is extended. Exhaling to engage and lock it in place, but then lean back a little bit like that. You can keep the heels on the floor and still be very active in this pose. You can certainly lean back more, step the heels in, and even lift the feet if you want. It's all correct. So you can just choose the variation that you want to at this moment. Nice, strong, deep breaths just to activate your center. Two more breaths. On the second exhale, we're going to cross legs. If you can, hands in front to hop or step back into plank pose. All right, go ahead and bring knees to the floor and just situate yourself so your hips are over your knees, and again, shoulders are over your wrists. Cat and cow. You're going to inhale, lift head and heart, arching the back a bit. Exhale, round it into cat, but hold cat. Hold the roundedness. Hold that sensation. So start to shift your weight a little bit into your right hand and right knee. Slowly start to extend the left leg back. I'm just basically lifting the knee off the floor. My toes are still on the floor. And then start to lift the toes off the mat. But it's like 3 inches off the ground. Then slowly extend your right arm forward. Reach. And with these lifted limbs, just extend in these opposite directions. Really lengthen. Now, as you're able, bend that left knee so your heel is reaching for the ceiling, and the right hand's going to come around back and see if you can touch the heel or even grab hold of the foot or ankle. It's okay if you don't grab hold. You can just reach. And if you've got a hold of it, lift that foot up into the air, send your heart forward and even look forward. It creates a back bend, but there's a slight twist in it because we're using these opposite limbs. We're going to carefully release, re-extend in these opposite directions, and bring the knee and hand back down to the mat. Return to cat and cow. Inhale for cow. Exhale, round it into cat. Hold cat. Be sure to engage the belly there. Hold it. Lean a little bit to your left side. Start to extend the right leg back, lifting the knee, toes stay on the floor initially, and then lift the toes off the floor a few inches. Then extend your left arm forward. This is called spinal balance. So really reach for the energy of the posture. We're still squeezing into center line with the belly and all 4 limbs. Let's see if we can go for that back bend. Bend the right knee, heel reaching for the ceiling, reach back with the left hand to catch hold if you can, or just touch the foot, or just reach for it if you can't touch it. Then lift the foot straight up into the air, which creates the back bend, and just look forward. Arms, the right arm especially, is still very active for stability. All right, let's release, re-extend, and bring the limbs back down to the mat. Sit back into child's pose. Make this active by reaching through the hands to the front corners of your mat, through your hips. Reach back towards your feet or the back edge of your mat. A couple more breaths. So we're just creating some release of the tension in the low back after having done that dynamic back bend. Now from here, I don't know if you can see me, I'm just going to keep my nose to the floor or pretty close to the ground. I'm basically pulling myself forward, keeping the nose close to the ground. My elbows are bending, pulling through until I'm in low cobra, right here on the floor. Then exhale, downward facing dog. Let's do that once again. You can even watch me if you want to make sure you got it right. So I'm just gonna bring my knees to the floor and sit back into child's pose. You can watch this time if you want to. All right, so here's my child's pose. I'm keeping my nose close to the ground. With my hands, I'm just pulling forward, bending the elbows. I'm just pulling my whole body forward like this, like I'm dragging my nose against the ground until my body is absolutely straight into this low cobra position, and then downward facing dog. All right, just meet me in downward facing. Take a nice breath in, and the exhale, walk, step, or jump, both feet back up to the top of the mat. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale, fold. Let's inhale to reverse the swan dive and come up to standing, reach up into the air, and exhale, hands down to your heart. All righty. Now in this next position, we're going to do a somewhat of a standing back bend. We're just going to be arching back. I'm going to turn sideways for this. So do this with me. Go ahead and inhale and extend your arms into the air. We're going to keep them up. Just interlace your fingers here at the top. And keep reaching upward towards the ceiling. Put a little bend in your knees. And even push the pelvis forward a little bit. Inhale, keep reaching up through the fingertips As you exhale, lean back a little bit. So this is our standing back bend. We haven't gone very far. So what we've done is put a little bend of the knees, push pelvis forward, just to help support the posture. Breathe in right where you are. We're going to exhale, release the fingers, and dive forward to forward fold, releasing that back bend. Keep moving. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back into plank pose. Keep the nice length and strength here. Let's take a shortcut to down dog. Bend your knees, hips into the air. Now inhale, extend your right leg straight up and back. Exhale, right foot to the top of the mat. We went for a high lunge this time. So shifting the weight back a little bit, but the left heel is still lifted. Let's inhale to rise up so we're in this pose here. Good extension. Now the only difference between this and a warrior one is that left heel is lifted and everything is facing forward. Now you're going to go ahead and interlace your fingers again like we just did earlier. Keep reaching upward. Bend this left knee a little bit more. You're going to scoop through the pelvis. You want to feel like your tailbone is tucking underneath and pointing towards that front knee. We're kind of mimicking what we just did in the standing position. Once you're there, you're going to feel this in your left thigh, right there, your quad. Once you're there, just keep inhaling to lift and exhale, just tip back a little bit. Now we're in a lunging back bend. Breathe in. And our exhale to fold, hands to the mat. Step back into down dog. Both feet on the floor, both feet on the floor. Ready for the other side. So same thing. Inhale, extend left leg up into the air. Exhale, left foot to the top of the mat. Same thing, high lunge, so right heel stays lifted. Do shift your weight back towards that lifted left heel, and then we'll rise. Here we are. Interlace your fingers. Reach up. Let's bend the right knee like you're going to kneel. That should give your hips mobility. So you can scoop underneath. We're trying to make space in the low back right here. And you're going to activate that right quad. And make sure the inner thighs are still squeezing in towards each other. We're inhaling, lifting up, and the exhale just to tip back a little bit. Our lunging back bend. Breathe in. Exhale, let's come out of it by bringing hands to the floor. And again, just step back into down dog, both feet on the mat. Let's bring the knees to the floor. Sit back into child's pose so that we can do that same transition together. Here we go. So the nose is close to the ground. With the hands, pull your upper body forward until you're long and lengthened into a low cobra. And then downward facing dog. Let's take a breath in. And the exhale, walk, step, or jump. Both feet return to the top of the mat. Inhale to extend spine. Exhale, fold. Let's hold this for a moment. Again, another opportunity to release the low back. And then weights in the heels, bend your knees. Inhale, reverse your swan dive. Let's come all the way back up, nice and tall. And exhale, hands down to your heart. All right, so we're building a sequence, and you can see and feel that there's a lot of back bends, and we've got a couple of twists in there as well. All right. Let's take our time as we go through the sequence. It's going to start with that standing back bend. Here we go. Inhale, reach into the sky. Go ahead and immediately interlace your fingers. Keep reaching up, a little bend to the knees. Just let them jet forward. Push pelvis forward. Inhale, keep lifting. Exhale, tip back, even just a little bit. Inhale again, then exhale, we'll dive out into forward fold. Feel that nice release. Inhale, re-extend spine, flat back. Exhale, bent knees, hands to the floor, step back into plank pose, come all the way down. We're going back to locust. Long legs, pointed toes. Inhale. Exhale to engage, maybe lift legs, lift hands. Hands can reach back if you'd like. Inhale again. Exhale, let's lower the limbs. Press back to downward facing dog. Inhale, extend right leg up into the air, bend and twist. As you exhale, unwind, send right foot to the top of the mat, warrior one. So left heel turns to the floor behind you, rise up, reaching into the air. Exhale, here's our warrior two. Side angle, reaching out over that right leg. Let's rotate the arms. Let's get that side body stretch by extending left arm overhead. Reach, there it is. And our exhale, turn, bring both hands to the floor on the inside of the right foot. Don't move the foot though, but the left heel will lift. Set that left knee onto the mat and take your right arm forward and then up into the air. Remember this? This was that little lunging twist we did earlier. Breathe in. Exhale, bring the right hand to the outside of your right foot. Curl your toes behind you, lifting the knee so you can slide that right foot back into downward facing dog. Breathe in and exhale, walk, step, or jump both feet back up to the top of the mat, re-extending spine. Exhale, fold. Let's reverse the swan dive. Come to standing, reaching into the air. Immediately interlace the fingers here at the top. Inhale to keep reaching upward. You're going to bend the knees, push pelvis forward. Inhale, lift straight up. Exhale, tip back. Inhale again. Then exhale, dive out into forward fold. Re-extend spine, monkey. Exhale, hands to the floor, walk or step back into plank pose. Come all the way down to belly for locust. Inhale for length. Exhale, engage. And lift. Reach back with the hands. Inhale. Exhale, lower the limbs. Push back, hands and knees, and then downward facing dog. Adjust the feet. Inhale, extend left leg into the air. Bend and twist. As you exhale, unwind. Left foot to the top of the mat. Right heel turns to the floor behind you. Let's reach forward and up, warrior one. And our exhale to warrior two. Right into side angle, reach. Rotate the arms, follow right arm overhead. Nice extension. Stretch, breathe in. Exhale, turn both hands to the floor on the inside of the left foot. Don't move your left foot, but do lift the right heel so you can bring that right knee to the ground. Extend left arm forward and up into the air for our lunging twist like this. Yes. Breathe in. And the exhale, bring the left hand to the outside of your left foot. Curl your toes behind you so you can lift that knee. Slide that left foot back into your downward facing dog. Okay, bring both knees to the floor. Sit back, child's pose. Let's hold that for a moment. As you're able, rise up to hero like this. If you can't sit in hero, then sit on the floor. Just come out of this pose and just sit. We're going to do that sequence again, but we have to add one more segment. We've already done it. We just haven't added it into this sequence yet. All right, let me just adjust my mat. So after we finished, let me just hop into this pose here. After we finished our little lunging twist here, I'm going to inhale and exhale, bring this left hand down to the floor. And just start shifting the weight back a little bit, because you can see if my right hip, my left hip is over the ground. I want to shift my weight back so it's over the knee. And as I do that, I'm just going to slide this right foot back. So I'm going to end up in a little tabletop. I'm going to keep extending that leg back. So basically it was up here. Start shifting the weight back, slide it back, but then up into the air. But making sure you've made this alignment of hip over knee. That's my right leg that's lifted, so my left arm is going to lift for the spinal balance. And then we're going to take that back bend twist here. We'll bring it down, and then to child's pose, and then the flow into a low cobra. We'll add on from there, and it's something we've already done. Alrighty. So if you're in a hero pose, let's all come back to child's pose. So we can just practice that transition. So nose stays close to the ground. We're gonna pull forward until we're in locust. And exhale, downward facing dog. Walk, step, or jump, both feet return to the top of the mat. Inhale to lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Let's inhale to reverse the swan dive, come to standing. Take a second to really get this nice stretch here at the top. Exhale, hands to your heart. Let's just pause here and just regroup and get ready for that big sequence. Do your best. Just follow along, modify whenever you need to. Starting with our standing back bend. Let's go ahead and inhale to take the arms into the air. Interlace your fingers. Bend your knees, push pelvis forward. Inhale, reach straight up. Exhale, tip back. Just a little. Inhale, keep reaching. Exhale, dive to forward fold. Move at your own pace. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step back, plank pose. Come all the way down to your belly. Get ready for locust, long legs, pointed toes. Inhale for length. Exhale to engage and lift the limbs. Inhale again. Exhale, limbs to the floor, push back, hands and knees, hips into the air, down dog. Inhale, right leg up, reach, bend, and twist. Exhale, right foot to the top of the mat, warrior one. Rising when you're ready. Warrior two. Side angle. Rotate the arms, follow the left arm overhead, reach. Inhale. Exhale, turn both hands to the floor on the inside of the left foot. Lift the left heel, or the right foot. Left knee comes to the floor. Right arm extends out front, reaching up into the air. So here's our twist. You're gonna breathe in. Exhale, right hand comes to the floor on the outside of that right foot. Start shifting the hips back into your hips or over that left knee, and slide the right foot back and up behind you. Nice extension. Then lift your left arm and extend it forward for spinal balance. Take the back bend as you're able, reach back and catch hold of the right foot. Lift the foot towards the ceiling, that creates the back bend. Re-extend the limbs. Bring the hand and knee back down to the floor. Curl toes, lift the knees into the air, hips into the air, downward facing. Listen, we're gonna inhale, extend right leg up again, right leg up, right foot to the top of the mat. We're going to a high lunge. Rising. Once you're tall, interlace your fingers. Bend the left knee, scoop through pelvis. Inhale, reach straight up. Exhale, tip back. Inhale, exhale, fold, hands to the floor, step back, down dog, but bring knees to the floor for child's pose. Get that quick rounding of the spine. Pull forward into locust. That's an inhale to finish the length. Exhale, return to downward facing. Then jump, step, or walk, both feet up to the top of the mat. Inhale, extend spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive, coming all the way up, going to the other side. Interlace your fingers. Bend the knees, let them jet forward, push pelvis forward. Inhale, lift straight up. Exhale, tip back. Inhale, keep extending. Exhale, dive out of your back bend to forward fold. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale, hands to the floor, step back. Plank pose, come all the way down to belly, set up for locust. Inhale for length. Exhale, engage and lift your limbs. Reach back with your hands if you'd like. Inhale once you're here. Exhale, set the limbs back down. Push back to downward facing dog. Inhale, extend left leg into the air, bend and twist. As you exhale, unwind, left foot to the top of the mat. Warrior one, right heel turns to the floor, rise up when you're ready. Warrior two, side angle. Rotate the arms, follow the right arm overhead, reach and stretch. Inhale here. Exhale, turn both hands to the floor on the inside of your left foot. Rise up on your tiptoes behind you. Gently set the right knee onto the floor. Extend the left arm forward, then up into the air for that lunging twist. Breathe in. Exhale, bring the left hand to the floor on the outside of the left foot. Okay, now you're gonna start shifting the weight back a little bit so your hip is over the knee behind you. So you can slide this left foot back, re-extend the leg back behind you, setting up for spinal balance. Extend the right arm forward. Reach, and then take the back bend. Bend the knee behind you, catch the foot, lift the foot towards ceiling, and there's our back bend. Let's inhale to release and re-extend. Exhale, hands and knees. Curl toes, hips into the sky. Downward facing dog. Inhale, extend left leg straight up into the air again. Left foot to the top of the mat, high lunge. Be sure to shift the weight back towards that lifted right heel, then rise. Interlace fingers here at the top. Bend the right knee a little, scoop through pelvis. Inhale, reach straight up. Exhale, tip back. There's our back bend. Inhale, reach. Exhale, let's fold. Bring hands to the floor. Take it back to down dog. Knees to the floor. Child's pose. Let's hold here. Wonderful work. You can soften up the body a little bit. You can even bring the arms behind you like this. This is more embryo pose. So your hands are reaching for your feet. Your crown or your forehead can rest on the floor. Just you can start to feel the release in the low back especially. It got a lot of work, so a lot of stretching, a lot of strengthening. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Moving towards the end of our practice. You might rise up briefly to hero pose so we can shift and take a seat. Swing the legs around to the front. Sit in the center of your mat and go ahead and lie down onto your back. Use any props here that you like for any support you might need. You might start by just coming to your back like this, knees bent, feet on the floor, just so your low back, even actually your entire back, can just settle here for a moment. Take a breath or two, and even just take note of the breath. I'm a little out of breath, and maybe you're a little out of breath, and so we just want to take note of that so that we can just start to watch the breath just come back to a nice baseline. Whenever you're ready, just hug your knees into yourself. Maybe some rocking, some circles here. Anything that would feel good as a way to massage low back region. And then choose a hip opener. You might choose happy baby pose. So that's this. Or you might choose reclining cobbler's pose where you press the soles of your feet together and just let the feet come to the ground. So the knees are bent out to the side and the hips open. You can do either one of those, or you can certainly do both of those. Take your time through the rest of this. You can just stay just like this. I'm going to do one more pose, and you're welcome to do it or not. It's just a twist if you'd like. You can bring the knees together, give yourself another hug, and then take knees over to the left side, open your upper body to the right side. But again, if you're still working with your hip openers and you want to stay there, just do that. The twist might continue that nice release in the low back. Maybe a couple more breaths on the first side. Take your time to return to center and take the other side when you're ready. For any of these finishing poses, just take your time with them. Hold them as you need to. Repeat any ones that you'd like to repeat, or add ones that we did not do together. Whenever you do feel complete, no rush, you'll just return to center and extend your legs out front, arms resting down by your side, so you can just come to Shavasana. And again, just come to this place whenever you're ready. Find complete stillness, relaxation. Again, take note of your breath. Maybe it's calmed at this point. Stay exactly where you are and just notice your breath. Now begin to reestablish a connection with breath and body. Take slow breaths in and out. And as you experience your own breath, feel it move through your entire body. Breathing slowly and deeply. Feel movement return to your body. Still breathing in and out. Let's prepare the body to move into a new position. If you're lying on your back, take a moment to carefully and slowly roll onto either side of your body, just moving into a nurturing pose. You can just pause there for a moment. And then rise to a seated posture. Take your time as you slowly come up. And once you're in seated, you can just stay just like this with your arms and hands resting calmly in your lap or on your legs. You might bring hands to heart center. On your own, take one more full breath in and a complete breath out. And let the body come to stillness. Hold for a few seconds, breathing softly. And as we complete our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste.